Welcome to another episode of Sports and Discourse with your host, Derek Stevenson. And I need to ask you a question. Is it time for Coach Calipari to go back to the platoon system? And the reason why I'm asking is because it seems like everybody in college basketball is getting hit, and I mean hit hard, by this transfer portal. And the thing is, Coach Calipari has kind of always had to deal with this, right? Ever since he's been at Kentucky anyways. It seems like he's always left with a couple of holes in his roster at the end of every season. Whether it be an unexpected player declaring early for the draft, or somebody deciding to transfer. But it always seems like every season he's left with a hole that could potentially be the key to us winning, and it's hard for him to fill the gap. And now with this transfer portal, it seems like everybody in college is having to deal with this. LSU has been dismantled. You see kids from St. Peter's making a little run in the tournament. Their coach leaves. Now they leaving too. And of course, Kentucky had a few players leave as well. And the thing is, what's going to make it more and more difficult for coaches now is you're going to really have to figure out a way to keep players happy and keep players involved. You know, the reason why I brought up the platoon team is because I felt like Coach Calipari managed the team probably better than he's ever managed another team, as far as he made up a system, even though some people could argue that he probably should have focused on a shorter or a smaller core of players to make his tournament run. Throughout the whole year, he kept everybody satisfied. He played 10 or 11 guys. The majority of everybody on that team, it maybe it been one or two players, but most of them all touched some NBA money. So they were all able to have a shot at having a professional career. It worked out for others. Some it didn't work out for. But everybody seemed to get an opportunity. And now I feel like we lost a couple of players off of this year's team because they just wasn't, or it seemed like they felt like they wasn't going to get an opportunity at Kentucky. And now with this transfer portal, you don't really have to sit anywhere and be unhappy. You can decide to leave whenever you want. Some players might have to go down a level. Some players can stay at the level that they're at. But the bottom line is, if you're unhappy with your situation, you're welcome to leave at any time. And I feel like Calipari is going to have to figure out a way to keep everybody happy like he used to. You know, we had a guy like Bryce Hopkins. He was a top recruit. And he probably just felt like he didn't get an opportunity at Kentucky like he deserved. And I don't know if he's deserving of the opportunity or not. I know he had a couple of, strong performances this year. But for the most part, he really didn't get to do anything noteworthy or impactful outside of a couple, I think he had a really strong game against LSU. But that's really all you could probably point to this season. But in his head, he probably just feels like he didn't get the same opportunity to figure things out on the court as some of the other players did. And like I said, I don't know if he's deserving or not because I can't see, how he's progressing in practice. I don't know what his effort is like. I just know Calipari chose not to utilize him much. And you could say that for some other guys on the team. I know Toppin probably felt like there was moments where he kind of got put to the side and wasn't utilized enough. Obviously, Allen felt like he didn't get an opportunity. You know, he got a little bit of opportunity his freshman year, but he really didn't get much of an opportunity his sophomore year. So he decided to leave and go to Western. And I just think, obviously, I don't think Calipari should necessarily go back to the platoon system, but he does have to try to figure out some way to keep the players from just leaving, because it's going to put you in an even worse situation than it was when you was losing some players to the draft, because overall you were still able to retain more kids than you probably going to be able to now. And it's going to be harder because there's so much more competition to get these players now. With all of this NIL deal and transfer portal, it's just turning college into NBA. College is becoming a professional sport. So you're gonna have to reevaluate how you recruit, and you're gonna have to try to win games, but you also gonna have to try to keep people happy. The Kentucky job is getting ready to probably become a whole lot more tougher than it already is now, because you're gonna have a harder time satisfying the fans if you're not winning. You're going to have to make sure the players are satisfied. And you're going to have to make sure the recruits feel like they're going to be involved when they get there, and keep the ones that are currently on your team happy enough to where they don't leave and start going to other teams. And it's just getting ready to be a very interesting turn for college sports. But I still think Calipari has the most experience with this situation, more than any coach in college basketball. So hopefully, if there's a guy that can figure this out, hopefully it's him, and he can use his experience with losing players and dealing with this stuff to his advantage, and raise Kentucky back up to, the top program in the country. But it'll just be interesting to see what's going to happen, because it just seems more and more now that you're going to have to really lock in with these players and keep these kids involved. I think he got lucky that, somebody even like Collins comes back, because realistically, he was kind of in the same situation as Hopkins. Didn't really play much. Probably didn't really feel that involved. He decided to go on and ride it out. But I couldn't necessarily be mad if he would have chose to leave. Just like I'm not really mad at Hopkins. Like, I wish Hopkins would have stayed. Just gave it another shot. Just try to work harder and, step up and be the guy for the next year. But it's just hard to say, because now it just leaves so much uncertainty with the roster spots and who's going to play and who's not going to play, that I think it just scares a lot of these athletes, that they feel like if they already been left out for one season, that especially at a school like Kentucky, where he's probably going to be bringing in more top recruits, that you could just be X'd out altogether, and you don't want to really waste your career, waste your opportunity, because these kids are trying to become professional athletes. So anyways, I just can't wait to see how all of this transfer portal and NIL stuff turns out. But anyways, let me know, what do you think? Do you think Calipari needs to bring back the platoon system? Or how is my guy going to figure all of this out, man? You let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time. Sports and Discourse, Derek Stevenson.